All right, welcome back on into another episode of the Bleed Blue podcast. This is the first time we're going to be offering ourselves in video format. Just fix my hair there a little bit. There we go. All right, so you guys can follow us on Bleed Blue Podcast on Instagram and at Bleed Blue Pod _ on Twitter. All right, there's going to be clips and other information from the show and videos going up there and some other good stuff. So sorry for the long layoff. The season is finally here, firing up on Wednesday. Um, so I'm gonna be trying to do an episode like on Mondays. Try and maybe recap what went on over the weekend, if anything did. Maybe if they're not playing on the weekend, it might be a little slower. Recapping what's going on in Canadian Division, which I'm super fired up about. We're gonna find out who's the best team in Canada. But yeah, Mondays and Fridays, recap the week, the weekends, all that good stuff. Give you guys my thoughts on what's going on as I try and finish out this last semester of school of mine. Um, Main focus will definitely be on the Leafs for sure, though. So, yeah, let's just jump right into it. The lines are set. Looks like that we got the lineup for Wednesday. Keefe announced today. Thornton with Matthews and Marner, VC, Tavares and Nylander, Mikheyev, Kerfoot and Hyman, and Barabanov, Spezza and Simmons. So obviously, as I tried to um, predict the lines and whatnot in the off season. As I said, no one's gonna know what Sheldon wanted to do, what Keefe was gonna do, what the lines were gonna actually end up being in the end. Um, so yeah, there were surprises. Obviously, Thornton playing with Matthews and Marner caught I think everybody off guard. He's 41 years old, but I'll get to that in a minute. I'm intrigued to see what VC's going to do with Spezza and or with Tavares and Nylander. Sounds like Sheldon wants him to do the Hyman role where he's just gonna go in and get the pucks and get them to the other guys and let them do their thing. Not going to be so focused on points as much with VC as it is getting the pucks to these guys. And then they got the third line. Kerfoot was hurt and they had Engvall in there. Engvall gets sent down this morning or cut, so Kerfoot's back and he says he's good to go. So Kerfoot, Mikheyev, and Hyman. That's a line that Keefe said he really wants to try out. He thinks it can be a really hard line to play against, and I think he's right. Um, you know, Besides like the lack of size, but even Hyman, he plays like a bigger guy. Kerfoot, small guy, but like I think when it comes down to it, these guys they can make it hard to play against the other team. I don't know how offensively gifted that line's going to be. Like they might get some chances, like they might go long streaks without scoring, but I think their main idea is going to be like tough to play against. And right, if that's a line that you can throw out against another team's top line, like against McDavid's line, right, that frees either Matthews or Tavares' lineup. One of them's going to go against a dry side line, and then you're getting a favorable matchup the other way. That's the idea of having this depth up the middle that they have in these top two lines. If you can create a third line that you can rely on, it just makes those top two lines way more dangerous. And then, Barabanov, Simmons, nothing surprising there. Spezza, um, probably going to try and be a hard line to play against tough big boys, Simmons and Barabanov. So they're probably going to be throwing their body around. Keeps made it abundantly clear that he wants this team to be tougher to play against. He's not coming in trying to lift spirits, and that was pretty surprising, right? He comes in, he opens camp with like a 20-minute bag skate with no pucks, right? And like that did not happen last year. But what you have to understand is he comes in last year. They're telling him you got to get this team into the playoffs no matter what it takes. And there might have been some personalities, or I don't know what was going on with that team last year, but you know, people like they just Keefe's like showing that he has to put the hammer down, and it's not all fun and games. Taking Tavares and Nylander off of the top power play line, like I'm sure they're not thrilled about that. Um, but like some people are gonna have to make sacrifices, and things they're not gonna like everything. Shit's gonna get hard for this team. Winning's not easy. I think them being in this all Canadian division and being away from just that mind fuck that is the Bruins, getting away from that, I think is going to be massive for this team. Because, like, I don't know what it is. Nobody's really left from, like, maybe Riley from that 2013 team. Everyone else is gone. So they shouldn't have the mind fuck from that. But, like, the other two game sevens, they've just proven that they just crumble when times get tough. And then we don't even need to get into game five. You get shut out. But this team's going to be tougher to play against, and I do honestly think they're going to have a bounce back year. I know uh, usually I'm a pessimist with this team, as everyone is. It's pretty hard to be optimistic, but like I'm trying to be optimistic. But it's gonna. I think honestly, like the team or the team in this Canadian division that can figure it out defensively, I think they're going to win because I think it's going to just be super exciting with all the talent all these teams got. Hughes, McDavid, Shifley, Matthews, like the Leaf stuff. Even Brady Kachuk and Thomas Chabot in Ottawa. Like they've got some fun guys to watch. Stutzel maybe if he makes the team. So it's going to be interesting to watch. The defense is kind of surprising slightly, right? You got like Morgan Riley and TJ Brody. They're going to play together. Everyone saw that coming. Muzzin and Hall, obviously, like that's not really surprising. They had Bogosian playing with Lettinen, right? And I thought they were going to be doing this like 3-man rotation, and they still very much might be. But Keefe said like he's just not comfortable putting Lettinen in yet, which is surprising because usually these guys come over and they go right in, but not with Keefe, I guess, and he didn't like what he saw in the scrimmage the other night. So Dermott's going in. Dermott has been on the outside looking in all camp, so I don't know if he's as much played himself into the spot as much as Lettinen played himself out of it, but the depth on the blue line this year is bigger than what they had. They've got Sandin kicking around. They could put him in if they need. I think they'd like him to develop a bit more, but they got to get him playing sooner or later. So yeah, I'd say the number one question I've been getting just from anyone, my friends, anybody who knows anything or anyone, just anybody about the Leafs has asked me, like, what do I think about Joe, like Jumbo Joe? And it's tough, right? Because we're not getting the great coverage from camp that we usually get with everybody there, all those reporters and everything. So it's tough to judge, and I'd be lying to you if I said I've been tracking him hard the last couple of years with him being in San Jose because I just honestly haven't. The Leafs play them twice a year. Like the main thing I can remember is like Freddie making that big crazy pass to Marner and Kadri ripping some of Thornton's beard out when they fought. So like other than that, I don't really remember too much about San Jose. So I'm uncomfortable right now making a decision on what I feel about Thornton. Like he's one of the best passers in NHL history. Marner's one of the best like passers in the league. Like, and I think he's going to take such a step forward this year. I think last year, just with the shit going through and he went through in the offseason, like just everything was on his mind. He just didn't have his head in the right spot. I think he's going to bounce back for sure. But like you got two of the best passers, one of the best passers of all time, one of the best passers in the league, playing with one of the best goal scorers in the league, if not the best goal scorer in the league, 5-on-5 in Austin Matthews. So I think it's going to work. And Keith said, right, like he's not going to be playing every shift with them. I think there's going to be situations where they're in the offensive zone. Joe's going to stay back. They're going to put Tavares out there, or they're going to put not Hyman, maybe Hyman. They might put Hyman out there. They might put Nylander out there, right? Like just in these offensive situations to try and to spark the goal, right? Because that's why not. Keith's shown that he's willing to do that before, or maybe after a power play they throw Matthews out there and Marner out there with someone else. I think they have to be mindful of his minutes. I'm just nervous, right? Like because he's on the first power play, he's on the first line, right? You just got to be nervous that there might be some overuse of him. He's 41 years old. Like his game's never been built on speed and skating, right? It's his hockey sense and his passing, and that I don't think has left him. So we're gonna have to see. I don't foresee him staying the whole season there, and if it doesn't work, they may move him. They could put Hyman back up there or Nylander up there, or who knows, right? Um, but I think they're going to try it, and there's no harm in trying it, right? I think it could work, and why not? If it works, right? You're just adding so much depth to your lineup. But I think realistically, by the end of the season, I do think Thornton will end up being um, near the third or the fourth line. I think he's going to get maybe on some back to backs. He might not play every game. They might say like, hey, maybe take the one off, take the night off. But they really don't have that many back to backs, right? Like it's almost every other night, pretty consistently. Like obviously, there's a couple of nights here and there. They have a couple extra breaks. Some weird ones where they have like a 5-day break, but that's because of the bubble and whatnot and the times we live in. But Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of hockey. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. Um, so another question that I keep getting from a lot of people is like what about Fred? Fred Anderson. Contract year, typically like stumbles out of the gate in October, weird year. So like is he going to stumble out of the gate? Who knows? The league is basically shinny when it starts up anyways. There's like 6-4 game. Remember that big crazy game a couple years ago with the Leafs against Chicago when Matthews and Kane were going at it with the fire in the hands up at the ear and everything. So that was a crazy game. That was like I think like final score of that game was like 8-7 or something crazy. Garrett Sparks let in like a converted touchdown. It was bad, but yeah, like this, like the league always starts off like, and this year especially, nobody's been playing camp, no exhibition games. Like it's probably going to take some time for people to get into the groove, and that might reflect poorly on Freddie. But I think it'll reflect poorly on everybody. The question is like when it comes down to it, we're pretty sure like the Leafs are favored to finish first unless something catastrophic happens and they miss the playoffs, right? When it comes down to it in the playoffs, can Freddie Anderson get the job done? And that's really the main question of the year. Like when times get tough and when this team is tested, can Freddie Anderson be there to shut the door? Right? Can he provide them with that big save when they need it? And if he can, like maybe that leads to him getting an extension here. Who knows? And if not, if he struggles, maybe Campbell gets more games than you'd think, right? Like they start the season off like on Wednesday the 13th against Montreal. Obviously, Fred's going to be playing in that game. He's going to get the start. You get 15 against Ottawa. All right, he's going to be playing in that one. Let's just say, God forbid, Fred stumbles out of the gate and they go 0-2, and Campbell comes in on the 16th against Ottawa and wins and plays really well. There is not enough time in this season to mess around and like, oh, like we don't want to hurt Fred's feelings. Like if Campbell's playing better than Fred, we have to he has to play. Like it's just as simple as that. There's no like time like, oh, we got to get Fred to get his game back. Like there's just simply not enough time in the season and not enough games for him to feel it out, right? So he's got to be sharp off the start. But yeah, he's one of the big major question marks on this team. So my overall impression of camp so far, um, I don't know. VC says like it's been the hardest camp he's ever been through. I would expect that. Like this is unlike any camp anyone's ever been through. So I would assume it would be hard in some regards, but like I think it's hard to tell how camp's been, right? They had a scrimmage against each other and it looked intense, somewhat intense. I mean, not intense, but I don't know. Like this team has to this if this team doesn't realize the opportunity and the urgency and just the fucking the goddamn moment they have, like they have a chance to be unlike anything this city has ever seen, man. This team is so talented, and I think personally it's deeper than teams that they've had in the past. I thought that last year until Tyson Barrie turned out to be a dud. But like I don't know. It's hard to tell with camp, man. This camp especially. I think like obviously I think they're going to come out flying. I think they're going to be great. But that's hard to tell from just watching them play against each other, right? So it's going to be interesting. So as I as I quickly mentioned earlier, it's pretty well known or pretty well established that the Leafs are kind of like the favorite in the All Canadian division going into this year. And I think a lot of people place that on them, knowing that that could be a psychological hurdle for them as well. This team has proven that when it comes to like psychological hurdles and mind stuff and mind games and whatnot, they don't really handle it spectacularly, I'd say. Um, so I think a lot of people being like, "Oh, I think the Leafs are just going to be run away with it." They're hoping that gets in their head and they maybe they become complacent or whatnot. But I I mean, I think they're deeper than any team in this division. I think they're more talented than any team in this division. The question really becomes: is the blue line going to hold up? Can they stay healthy? And can Freddie make a save? I think those are the big questions heading into this season. Um, it's going to be interesting. I'm seeing some ridiculous articles that Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas are on the hot seat. I don't think so. I think if this goes south, I think Kyle might be on the hot seat, but I don't even want to think like that. I'm very optimistic. I'm feeling good about the season. So yeah. So Wednesday we're starting it off. So I'll be back with an episode on Friday. We'll break it all down. And it's going to be awesome. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. I hope you guys enjoy the game. And let's go. Bleed blue, baby. Let's go. Enjoy yourselves. Take it easy.